This is Lisa, Prims on Greenway, and I am here on Sunday, June 26th, 2022 for Flosstube number 33. So welcome everybody. As you can see, I kind of have a 4th of July theme going on here. There's a couple reasons I have this happening today. Number one is 4th of July is coming up about a week from now. And secondly, and for me, even more exciting, July 2nd, so just 6 days from now, Hobby House Needleworks is opening an annex right next door called Hobby House Woolworks. I am so excited. Hello, this is going to be awesome. So here we are. This is kind of going to be their logo, Hobby House Woolworks. And what they will have there is they will have not only wool, but they will also have fabrics, punch needle, rug hooking, wool applique, and who knows what else. I am just thrilled about it, and even more so thrilled because I will be there at the opening. And I, as well as myself, Gail, will be hosting a make and take. If you remember me mentioning at our last retreat, that was the Prim Stitcher Society back in November, Gail and I at our Stitchy table hosted a kind of our own little make and take. We had people come sit down and make buttons to take home. And we asked them to sit on the chair, which we dubbed the crafty throne. And so I'm hoping that we can recreate a little of the fun at Hobby House Woolworks opening day on July 2nd. So if you are anywhere near Pittsford, New York, please stop on by. Number one, I'd love to meet you. Number two, I'd love to have you see Hobby House Woolworks. And also stop on next door for Hobby House Needleworks. So I'm so thrilled, and you are getting a glimpse of what my make and take is. I am going to be having everybody choose a color and make what I'm calling a firecracker. Basically, it's 2 pieces of wool, whip stitched together. Of course, you could do a blanket stitch if you wanted to. I kind of follow Maggie Bonomi's simplicity in stitches by just doing a whip stitch. And then I have to be honest, I just glued the button on. You certainly could sew it on. And then I just added some torn fabric to give it that nice prim look. And you can stick it in wherever. You could stick it in a lantern like I made, or you could stick it in a plant, or just set it next to your patriotic vignettes, whatever you want to do with it. But yesterday I had Gail over and she helped me cut out bunches of these, and I had her do a test run. I said, set your timer, see how long it takes you to make one of these, and it took her about 20 minutes, but we were chatting quite a bit. So I'm thinking if you just sat down and stitched it up, it probably would be 5 to 10. But anyways, here it is. I'm so thrilled. Cannot wait to be in Pittsford on Saturday for the opening. And I'm hoping all you people out there will come join us. It would be awesome. It would be awesome. So anyways, there's some exciting news. Let's see. I think I have my list over here. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to glance at it, but I think we will go on to my finishes, one of which is going to be on a video at the end. If you remember last time, I had mentioned that one of my goals before this video was to do a flag kit from Old Tattered Flag, and I did complete that. And as I said, I'm going to put that at the end because I did a special video of our new mudroom. It's not really a mudroom. I kind of made it into a stitchy space. Not sure my husband is pleased about that. But if you're interested in seeing it, I did a little bit of decorating. It's not totally done, but you have to start somewhere. And I'm going to show that at the end, and that's where I have my flag hanging, so you'll see it at the end. Let's see, the second thing I finished, I didn't FFO, but I finished stitching, was the stitch I had in progress last time. If you remember, it was from Blackbird's Sewing Club, and it was the In My Garden pattern. And let me see if I can show you right here. I did not do it on the gingham fabric. I used a 40 count Picture This Plus Heritage, and I did use all the called for. I have yet to decide how I'm going to finish it, but I'm thrilled to say all the stitching is complete, and it really came out cute. I did put my initials over here, LK, and I really love it. You know, Blackbird just has that signature look. I find it kind of a vintage. I don't know, her colors, or their colors are, I call them dusty. I don't know. I guess muted's probably a better word, but I call them dusty. And I just love it. I just love the aesthetic. So, so if you see this aesthetic here, you're going to see what happens to a Blackbird when you change the colors. It gives it a whole different look. And I like both, I'll show you in a minute what I'm talking about, because next I'm going to show you what I'm currently working on, which actually is another Blackbird, but it doesn't have those muted dusty colors because I decided to change it up a bit. So this is a book that I purchased when I was down in Missouri at the Quilter Station Retreat last September. And this is called Lavinias Pressed Flowers. If I'm saying that right, I might not be. But basically there's loads of gorgeous quilting in here. Now, one of the things I pointed out before, which I'm going to point out again, is if there's a template in here, say for a flower or a star or something along those lines, like here's a star template, you can use that template for other things. You could use it for embroidery if you do embroidery. You could also use it for wool applique. You know, use what you have, and you can use it in multimedia. You could use it for paper crafting if you wanted a template. And there's bunches of them in here, even though you're not a quilter. I've made one quilt in my lifetime. I don't call myself a quilter. I love looking at fabrics and looking at quilts, and I'm a huge Blackbird fan. So do I have every Blackbird pattern? No, I don't. I wish I did, but I don't. But that's my, one of my other hobbies is collecting Blackbird. So anyways, I picked this up at Quilter Station. I believe it's out of print. I do not know if they have any more. I think I looked it up. It was 2003. Yep, this was from 2003. So getting to the point, there's also a cross stitch pattern in here, and it's called Mildred's Sampler Pillow. And lately I've been doing a lot of little red samplers. And so I thought to myself, I've wanted to do this since I purchased this last fall, and I think I'm going to get to it. But do I want to go with the dusty muted tones of Blackbird, or am I going to change it up? And I had the courage to change up Blackbird colors. Well, this is a single color monochromatic. It was calling for rhubarb, which I think was a Gentle Arts. But I decided to go with Soie d'Alger. And that's because last time, I think I told you, I used this awesome red that was gifted to me. And I decided to use it again. It's 29, 24. I absolutely love it. And I have to say, now that I've got some stitching in on it, it really changes the whole look of a Blackbird. I still love it. It gives it, I'm so bad with words, my brain. It gives it a little, I don't want to use the word class, but modern's not the right word either. What am I trying to say? I don't know. It just changes the whole feel of the piece, I think. So let me show you. First off, here's the pattern. Mildred's Sampler Pillow is the pattern, if you can see it. The lighting's maybe too bright, not bright enough. It's kind of this big whimsical flower surrounded by stars and little letters, which kind of makes it sampler-like. And then, of course, you have this little house here. And then in the corner, you have the name Mildred and a date. Now on mine, I haven't decided what I'm going to put in the corner. I don't think I'm going to put Mildred in that date, but I haven't gotten there yet. But I love this. It has a bit of whimsy. Of course, the colors here look very Blackbird. This rhubarb is very, very dusty. But let's see how using a silk in a red transforms it. Check this out, people. Is that awesome or what? Maybe this light is a little too bright. I was hoping to make it less bright, and I'm making it more bright. See there. I love it. I don't know how to describe. Let me put this behind. How to describe it. But it just gives it a more crisp look. Definitely a different look. Let me move it back a bit. I just love it. I don't know. If you guys could give me some adjectives, I'd really appreciate it. You can see that I'm struggling. And I'm just feeling in my mind, I don't want to insult Blackbird because they're my absolute favorite and I love all their colors and this is the very first time I've changed it. But at the same time, I'm excited because I feel like, wow, it just changes the whole thing. And I really like it. And I can't wait to add it to my other little red samplers. Again, I haven't done anything with them yet. I'm thinking when I get a bunch, it'd be nice to have a little grouping on the wall. But we'll see. I'm in no hurry. I'm just enjoying stitching this. So if you ever have the opportunity to get this awesome book, I highly recommend it. That is the only, no, I'm going to take that back. It's not the only cross stitch pattern in here. The other thing they show is a combo wool and cross stitch. It's called Sampler Bouquet Pillow. And if you can see, I think this green is actually linen and they cross stitched an alphabet here, but the rest of this is wool. And of course, it's like amazingly gorgeous along with this gorgeous quilt that they show. But other than that, those are the only two cross-stitch projects in this book. The rest, as I said, are absolutely outstanding quilting patterns, as well as some wool applique. This was the other, oh, and there's a rug in there. This was the other wool applique, although this is a bit advanced maybe for me. I don't know. This is called Posy Penny Mat, but I just thought it was absolutely awesome. Look at that. Oh, so patriotic. I just love that. One of these days, if I would love to find, wool colors that are close to that, because that's just yummy in my mind. But we'll see. That's on my back burner in my mind. But I'm just loving doing this little Blackbird in Soie d'Alger silk. So, okay. What else do I have for you? I've had this pattern on my mind, I don't know, several years, and it was gifted to me by my friend Gail, and I have yet to start it. And I take it out every time I finish something. I take it out and say, should I start this now? And then I always set it aside. And I think the only reason I set it aside is because, as you know, I'm a lunatic, and when I start something, I want to finish it. And lately, I've been feeling like I want to finish a lot. So I'm doing the smaller patterns. And so the only reason I set this aside is because it's a bigger pattern. Not that it's humongous. It's certainly not as big as my Uffendell. But it is on the larger side. It is, I think it's like 400 by like 100 or 95 or something like that. But anyways, it's nothing new to anybody. It's In All Things Be Exceedingly Diligent by Needlework Press. And here's the photograph. I have been dying to do this for years and years and years. And I actually bought, the called for fabric is not what I purchased. Trying to find what they say. Oh, Belfast 32 count raw or natural linen is what they're calling for. Or another option is lamb's wool. So I don't have either one of those, but somebody had made a recommendation for a lakeside vintage autumn gold, which I did find, but when I set my colors against it, it just seemed way too dark. I didn't pull it out for this video. I should have, but I didn't. But what I did pull out of my stash was a Picture This Plus Heartland, which is a bit lighter. It still has the modeling. I mean, lately I just love the modeling, although I have to say on that other Picture This Plus, what did I tell you that was Legacy or Heritage? There's not a ton of modeling on that, but I just love the modeling on some of these. I don't know. When you stitch over them, I agree with Nicola. When you stitch over them, they just look fabulous. So I think, although I don't know for sure, I think I'm going with this Heartland by Picture This Plus. Oh, and here's the threads. Let me see if I can. One of these is hanging down though. I don't know why. Let me see if I can set this up with it. There we are. So here are some of the threads, which are just delightful, delightful. And I think that's going to look just awesome on there. And I think I'm still missing like 3. These are DMC. The pattern calls for either DMC or Anchor. And I think I'm missing 3 of them. So when I go on Saturday to Hobby House Woolworks, I'm going to pop the next door and pick up my 3 DMCs for this project. And I really want to start it. Why can't I get over doing like more than one project? I need some encouragement, I think. Maybe to have a small going and a large going. Could I handle that? I don't know. I don't know. You tell me. I need some help. I need some help. There are so many things I want to stitch. And yet I want to do all the wool stuff and I want to do some sewing stuff. And speaking of sewing stuff, holy guacamole, did I not bring my sewing project up here? Oh my goodness. I'm going to be very sad. And I think I did not. Okay, guys, I cannot film this without showing you this project. I think I know where it is. Hold, please. Let me just run and see. Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. I'm so unprepared. I'm scatterbrained. Okay, sorry about that, guys. So what I wanted to show you was a bit of a sewing project. However, it is out of a another out-of-print book. I'm sorry. I love these out-of-print books, but you know what? When I purchased these couple books, well, the one I purchased, I already told you, when I was at Quilter Station. This other one was a year to 2 years ago, and it was actually Carol Saltbox Stitcher, which showed it first, and then I went on the internet searching for it. I don't exactly remember. I probably paid a little more than what was the original. Usually these books go for $25 to $30. I might have paid $35 or so. I doubt I went more than that, but if you scour, you can find these things. And this one is by Vicki Jeanette of Needlework Press. And I'm trying to look, what was the year on this? This book is awesome, of course. I see everything on here. It doesn't, oh, there it is, 2013. So this is from 2013. It's called Sonoran Borders, Threads of Friendship. I'm trying to get the glare off for you. By Vicki Jeanette. This is an amazing book. It has a story that goes with it, as well as beautiful, beautiful stitching and finishing of all sorts of things. So if you can get your hands on this, I highly suggest you grab it the minute you see it, because it's outstanding. And so last week I had one of my wild hairs where I just like, I got to do something and I want to finish it today. Like, so I want a few hours and boom, have a project done. And so what I picked out of here was a project that you could do some stitching for, or you could just do fabric. And obviously, since I wanted it quick, I just did the fabric only version. But it would be nice to do the stitch version. So here we are. These are called, oh goodness, see, they're in two different places in here. Simple Sewing Roll-Up. That's what it's called, Simple Sewing Roll-Up. And if you can see, here's a photograph of 3 different ones. The one in the middle has some stitching on. The other 2 just have fabric. But when you look at this picture, at least when I look at this picture, they looked pretty big. And then when I started following the pattern and cutting things out, I'm like, this is going to be super tiny. I still love it, but it's really tiny. And I think I would like to like double the size of it. Maybe I will someday. We'll see. So, so here's my version. I have to say, I'm getting low on my fabric stash. I really need to get some fabric. Lucky thing, I'm going to Hobby House Woolworks where they sell fabric. Anyways, oh, here's my roll up. Let me roll it first. I haven't unrolled. Let me roll it first so you can see the rolled version. And here we are. I'm gonna wrap it around here. So, how cute is this little roll up? But it's very tiny. You know, here's the size of my hand. You know, it's super tiny. It's like a quarter of my hand. So it's super duper tiny. Here's some ribbon with a button. This is fabric. This is reproduction fabric I got from Country Treasures in Brockport, New York. I really need to make another trip up there because her whole shop is reproduction fabrics. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. So I just picked a few, and this was probably a couple of years ago, and so I need to make another trip there too. But anyways, so you unroll this and whoop, we go. And here it is. So these are all little pockets. Every single one of them is a little pocket. Boop and boop. Isn't it cute? Oh, I just love it. And there's the plaid on the other side. It's kind of a green plaid. I don't know if the colors are coming across. This is kind of a cheddar and an orange. I know it's looking a little red, but it's very orange. That's a little more red, and then the cheddar on the top. Now, the one thing I have to say that I did not follow, the pattern called for the binding to be a bias strip. As I told you before, I am not a sewer. I don't know how to make a bias strip. I think you have to cut it on the diagonal or something. I'm sure I would have goofed that right up. I'm sure I would have goofed that right up. So in my stash from my sister, she had picked up for me sewing stuff. She doesn't do any crafty stuff. And there was this ready-made seam binding. And so I did pop on a YouTube tutorial on how to attach it, which was similar to how you attach it to a quilt. So I kind of got that. But it was okay to sew it on, but when you had to flip it over and hand sew it on the back, it's so skinny. I think it's just, I mean, I think it looks cute because it is so tiny, but it was a bear to kind of roll it over and stuff the fabric in and try to stitch it. I mean, it came out okay. It's not perfect by any means, but yeah, if anybody has any suggestions, you guys are always so awesome at giving me sewing instructions. I did finish it. I think it looks cute. it's always a learning process. The first one you do, you're like, oh, next time I'll do that differently. I mean, I think that's just how it goes. The problem with me is that once I do it once, I'm like, yeah, I'm done with that. Let's move on to something else. So I never quite perfect anything. I just do it once and move on to something else and say, yeah, someday if I do it again, I'd do it different. By then, I'll probably have forgotten. But anyways, here it is. Simple sewing roll up. I think it's cute. It's adorable. And if anybody's interested and they can find it, I would definitely pick this book up. Last time I said, turn the video off and go find it. This is one of those. It might be a little harder though than the Rebecca Smith book, but it is fabulous. And I have to say, I know I shouted her out last time, but I'm going to shout her out again because I'm like obsessed with Needlework Press. I love everything she posts on Instagram. If you're not following her on Instagram, you are totally missing out because every day she posts something out of this world, whether it be samplers or a beautiful portion of her home with all these cool vintage things. Or the other day she posted this awesome sunset that just looked like a picture. I'm just obsessed. I truly am. And I cannot say enough about her Instagram because she's on it every day and she just wows me every day. I'm just like, oh, amazing. And so why am I not stitching exceedingly diligent? I'm going to admit to you right here and now, okay, I'm bearing my soul to you. I have never stitched a needlework press before. I have never stitched one. So what am I waiting for? Get going, right? Right. Okay, so to round this out, I did want to mention a few other Instagrammers. I told you I love Instagram in general. Another person I do want to mention is my friend Tammy. I met her down at Quilter Station last fall, and she is Basket Nut. Tammy does amazing quilting. She's also a stitcher, but her quilting is out of this world. And again, she posts every day. I'm thinking, Tammy, how many quilts do you have in that house? Hello, is your house made of quilts? And one is more beautiful than the other. So if you just want inspiration, looking at beautiful colors and fabrics just inspires me. I just love it, even though that's not my main hobby or craft. It's a source of inspiration. So I say, check her out. Again, Tammy, her Instagram handle is Basket Nut. Next is my friend Karen, who I also met at Quilter Station, and she is Yellow Farmhouse. And again, beautiful stitcher, beautiful finisher, gorgeous house and vignettes. Again, pure inspiration. Check her out. And then the last one I'm not super familiar with, but I've run across her a couple times. And I think it's because she is, she has a business. She's makes handmade stuffed dolls, animals. They are very, very intricately done, and she only posts when she has some. But to me, they have a very folky feel to them. Not super primitive, like nothing without eyes or face or anything like that, but a very detailed, folky look to them. And I've never been lucky enough to catch one, but you might want to check her out. She's called Quaint Marie. Quaint Marie, 2 words, Quaint Marie. So check it out. I'm always looking for something new or different. And again, even though I don't do that craft, it just provides some inspiration. And you're like, wow, that's awesome. People are amazing. Truly. There are so many gifted, creative people out there. It boggles my mind. So I think that brings me to the end of my video. Oh, one more thing I'll show. Again, maybe a source of inspiration for somebody. When Gail and I were cutting all the stars for our make and take on Saturday, I said to Gail, well, I have some of these bags left over from my kids' graduation party. Oh, by the way, I didn't even mention. So both of my seniors are now graduated from high school. One graduated back on June 10th, and one graduated this past Friday. And so now they're officially graduated. We did their party after the first graduation, which I'm kind of glad because now they're just like going to party. Today, they have 3-4 parties each to go to. So I'm glad ours is done and over with. It was awesome. It was beautiful. I did this huge candy bar, and the food was amazing at the restaurant, and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, at the candy bar, I had bought these cute little bags and I had extras. So I said to Gail, I said, well, why don't we bag a few up, because maybe a few people, you know, would not have the time to sit down and take 15 or 20 minutes to stitch one up, but they'd really like one. So we decided to bag them up in these cute little bags, and look at how cute. So we put in the little stick, which didn't quite fit, but I just folded it over, and then the little fabric piece that goes around, I just used it as a closure. We did just put a few, punched 2 holes in there, and inside basically you have your button and your stars in there. And so at home you could just stitch it up and throw in a little bit batting or some cotton balls or something like that. You don't need much, and just glue on the button or sew it on, and then stick in your stick, and you're all set. By the way, these are barbecue skewers I got at the Dollar Tree, just in case you're wondering. It's not $1 anymore, it's $1.25, right? Should call it the $1.25 tree. Anyways, again, just giving some inspiration. And did I say I got these at the dollar store too? If I didn't say that. And there was some different colors, but of course I love the red. And this is my daughter's high school colors were red and white. My son's were navy blue and gold. But anyway, there we are. There we are. Please come join us on Sunday again, or pardon me, Saturday, July 2nd in Pittsford, New York. Right next door to Hobby House Needleworks will be Hobby House Woolworks, open 10 to 3. Please come on in. I'd love to meet you. Sit down on the crafty throne and make a firecracker. See you guys later. Take care. Bye-bye. Hi, everybody. This is our new small addition. It's kind of an entryway / mudroom. It used to be very, very tiny. We used to have a door that just had windows on the top. I decided to do 2 French doors to let a little more light into my very old house. Don't know if I've mentioned in the past, my house was probably built in the 1840s, we think. So anyways, we added this little mudroom addition. There was one here, but it was very tiny, just enough for one person to kind of pass through. And so a couple weekends ago, I decided to do a little decorating on the inside, at least make a start on it. So I thought I would show you. So here's the entryway. I'm gonna try to go kind of slow so that I'm not getting you too dizzy, but we'll go ahead and head in the French door here. And then there's another French door, as I said, so I'm hoping it lets some light into my house with the 2 French doors. But as you look to the right, I have a picture hanging here. This was a gift from my mother-in-law many years ago, kind of a prim picture on that little wall. And then when you come to this side, this is where I put my Strawberry Thief by Maggie Bononomy. I hung it on this little prim, what looks like maybe was a towel hanger. I'm not quite sure. If anybody knows exactly what it was, let me get up close so you can kind of see it. It's very old. It's got a wooden dowel there in the middle and a wooden kind of a shelf, and then the rest is kind of metal. So I'm not sure what it was originally intended for, but to me it looks prim. I may end up putting something on the top shelf. It's very narrow. I'm not sure what yet. But anyways, there's my Strawberry Thief. That's where I've hung him. And then if I step back and you look in this corner, this is a big, huge crock. I'm only 5'2", but it probably goes to my mid-thigh at least. It's pretty large. And I just did a makeshift top with some fabric. It's not perfect, but we basically store in there some birdseed for outside. But I love this big, huge crock. There's the birdseed, and this is the little top that I made for it just to kind of cover it up a little bit. So that's that. And then if you turn here, there's the Strawberry Thief. I put a mirror over here. We had this in our basement. It used to be my daughter's when she was little, and it serves perfectly. Like on your way out of the house, you just want to check the mirror, make sure everything looks good, and off you go. I love it here. My husband's not real crazy about it, but you know how that goes. Anyway, so I'm going to rotate around. So this is the door we came in, and there's my yard. But if we come to this side, I put this little shelf here. I got this years ago from a Stitchy shop in East Aurora, New York, that is now closed. But she had a club where you would get a tiny little cross-stitch piece. Oh, my door's opening. Tiny cross-stitch piece with a handmade wooden item, and this was one of them. So I thought I'd just hang it here. You know, honestly, there is a name to it, to the designer. Let me just peek. Oh, it's called Liberty Hill, if anybody heard of that before. It's called Liberty Hill. So anyways, I hung that there, and then this was a little piece that I had gotten on an exchange, and I think this is still available because I think it's a freebie on the Blackbird website. Well, maybe it's not a website. I think it's a blog. I think it's a Blackbird blog, but I don't think they've put anything new on it for many, many years. But I believe the freebies are still up there, and I think this is one of them. But anyways, I got it on an exchange, and I just thought it looked really cute there above the light switch for the outdoor light. And then if you keep on turning this wall, we ended up putting a window because my vision was, you know, if it was too hot or too chilly or too buggy to go outside, that I could sit by the window and stitch. And this is the chair that I have sitting there. This is another really funny story. Believe it or not, I got this chair in trade for services rendered in my day job from an Amish family. I took care of their baby in the nursery, and they asked if I would take a trade, goods for services, and I said sure, and went out to their house and picked out this handmade glider. Isn't it awesome? This is probably from, gosh, I've been practicing for over 20 years, so this was in my early days, so this is probably at least 20 years old, but I love it, and to sit down next to the window and stitch is just perfect. And then behind it, as you can see, is my newest creation. I showed last time that I was going to do this. This was a kit I bought from Old Tattered Flag, and I just love it, and I think it is perfect right there next to the door as you walk in. Let me try to get a little closer. The top is wool, so it came with the beautiful blue wool. You had to cut your stars out. Looks like there's a piece of thread hanging from the star. You had to cut the stars out and stitch them on. And then this is a piece of, I don't know what it's called. Is it called toweling? I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but it's awesome. It's kind of a rougher fabric. There, you can see it a bit there. It's kind of a very coarse fabric, but I love the red stripes on it, and it looks very prim and very perfect right there next to my chair. So I have a few other ideas for the room. It will evolve over time, but I thought this was a nice start, and I love this little room. However, as I said, my husband said a mudroom is for muddy shoes and wet jackets, and I said, a mudroom could be a stitchy room too, right? All right, see you in a bit.